So I was saying that I'm going to stop here and take questions if anybody has a question before we proceed to the next part.
Okay, I have a question. I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna ask a question outside color grading. So ever since I've been looking at this picture, I've zoomed in my camera, my phone screen. I saw the f-stop and the speed and the ISO. And one thing I noticed about this picture, I like the way the depth it has, like the way only the face is focused and the background and the body side are a bit blur. So I want to know if for someone that, like me, that's shooting with a lens that has f-stop of 1.8, how can I achieve something like this with this kind of depth? Because I've tried getting something like this. I haven't really gotten full the full idea of how to get something like this with my own lens.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. What is the focal length of your lens?
Okay, I shoot with a Sigma lens to 70 to 200 with f-stop 1.8.
Okay, 70 to 200 f1.8.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
I think it's 2.8. 2.8.
Sorry.
I was
2.8.
shocked.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I
I'm
was
sorry.
shocked when I had 1.6.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I was comparing it with my 50 mm. Sorry, it's 2.8.
Good.
I'm sorry.
All right. So let me explain to you what depth of field means. Okay, and I'm going to use this tissue here as an example. So please pay attention to what I'm about to say. So depth of field is the degree of sharpness between the foreground of the image and the background. Another definition, this is the photographer, this is the subject, and then this is the background. Okay? Now, if I wanted to take the background out of focus, meaning the background is looking soft, there are things in the background, but you cannot really see the things in the background. I want to be able to do two things. Number one, use a lens that has a wide aperture. By wide aperture, I mean 2.8, 2.2, 1.8, 1.4, 1.2. You want to be able to focus on your subject with a wide aperture. A wide aperture has the ability to take the background out of focus. That's number one. Number two, if you are using a 70 to 200, what you want to do to be able to take the background out of focus, you want to zoom all the way to 200. So you move back. Remember, depth of field, photographer, zooms in all the way to the subject at 200 mm. That already has the ability to take everything out of focus. The third way is to make sure that there is a considerable distance between your subject and the background. So if my subject is all the way here and my background is all the way here, chances are that when I'm able to nail the focus on my subject, my background will go out of focus. So it is a function of two things: the aperture value of the lens and the distance of the lens. In this case, I have shot this image with 50 mm, which is a good lens for portrait, and I am shooting at 1.3. So forget 1.3, it's also 1.2. Sony is usually very, very accurate, and I didn't shoot 1.3 deliberately. Sometimes, you know, it can just change, but just for emphasis sake, let's take this 1.3 as 1.2. There is a good enough distance between my subject here and the background. Not so much of a distance, but a good enough distance. At 1.2, it's able to nail the focus on my subject and put everything else out of focus. In this case, even the earrings is out of focus. Even the hand is out of focus. Even the hair is out of focus. Now, if you're saying, Mr. Henry, what if I want these things to be in focus? Then you could do this. Use the same 50 mm and shoot this image at maybe f4. When you close your aperture value of your lens, you are able to have more in focus. What more in focus does is that it allows you to focus on the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the earrings, the hand, the hair, and even some details on the background. So f4, f4.5, f5.6. But like I said during the live session, whenever you close your aperture, you are restricting the amount of light that enters your sensor. So what you need to do is to be able to compensate that exposure by doing one of two things: either increasing your ISO or increasing the amount of light that is coming from your strobe. In the eventuality that you're working outdoors and you do not have a strobe, then that rules out the strobe. Should I proceed, or is there any other question?
Proceed,
I have
sir.
a question.
Sorry?
I have a question. Okay. Please, what focus mode does it take the ears and the hair out of focus? That is, what focus mode do you use? Is it a single focusing or auto this thing, AI focusing?
So I
focus mode I use.
always work with single focus because most of the time I am shooting, my subject is not moving. What that means is that I am a portrait photographer and I tend to create the images that I work with. So if my focus or my subject isn't moving, I just need to use one focus or single focus mode if you're working with Sony. You understand? Responsible for the blurring of the background or the softness of the image. I don't want to repeat everything that I've just said with answering the other person, but if you were listening, then that is where you have the answer to your question. If you are working with kids that are running up and down, then you cannot use single focus mode. You want to be able to use continuous shooting, you understand, or focus tracking, so that your focus is tracking the movement of the kid. If you're using a Canon camera, there are 3 focus modes. There is one shot, there's Alsevo, and then there is, what's the other one? All focus.
AI.
Yes, there's AL focus. AL focus is like autofocus. Alsevo is tracking the focus, and one shot is for your subject that isn't moving. With Sony, there is AFC, there is AFS, and then there is the, yeah. Second and last question so that we can proceed.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, please shoot HSS on mostly portrait pictures.
Okay, I would also appreciate if you guys keep your questions related to what we're doing now. There will be time towards the end when we can take unrelated questions. HSS stands for high sync speed. It has nothing to do with what we're currently doing. As a photographer, I can tell you for free, I do not shoot HSS. It is not bad, it is preferred. I would rather use a filter than to shoot HSS. But HSS is a technique used when you are shooting outdoors and you are trying to underexpose your background and also sync your camera at a very fast, high sync speed. So when you shoot an image faster than the high sync speed, your image tends to have a black line on it because most cameras 1/200 of a second. But HSS, being high sync speed, allows you to shoot the image faster than the sync speed of your camera. You can only shoot HSS when you are working with strobe, especially when you are working outdoors. And it has nothing to do with what we're doing now. This is a completely different topic. So please, let's not dwell on that. Should I please proceed? Yes. Okay. Do I have any question? I'll take one question and then we'll move to Photoshop. I think we're pretty much done with.
Yeah. I have a question, please.
Okay, sir. Please proceed, sir.
Okay. I want to know: do you shoot on the profile or do you shoot flats in post-product in the shooting phase, and how do you process that while doing your post-production?
I can't hear anything. Or am I
Please,
the only one?
please ask
Can
your
you hear me?
question again.
Okay, I said,
Yes, sir.
while shooting, do you shoot on the profile or do you shoot flat? Then how do you do that in post?
We can't
Do you
hear anything now.
convert it to a profile on post, or do you just edit
I
right
can
there?
hear. I think it's from your end.
Let me say what he's saying. He's asking if I shoot on a particular color profile or do I shoot flat? Yeah. So there are different color profiles depending on your camera. So I currently shoot, I used to shoot flat with the Sony, but now I shoot on Vivid just because I need a little bit of hint of color so that I'm not starting my color process from scratch. You could also shoot flat. People that shoot flat tend to work from Photoshop, so they will take it flat to Photoshop and build their color afresh. But I currently work with Vivid on my Sony A7R4 or the Sony A7R3. These are the two cameras that I'm currently using. The second question is, how do you process the image? And I can just tell you that what we've been doing from the very beginning is pretty much how I process my image. I'm a very straightforward kind of guy. I'm not lying or hiding anything from you. You can see clearly from what I'm doing to these images that they don't look different from what you see on my page in terms of the style of shooting, the tonality of the image. I felt like I was a bit frustrated when I was creating this because it really wasn't working the way I wanted it to work. But that happens, you understand? And that's why we need to practice more, because practice will make perfect. I feel like now I am better prepared. If I went back here to create another image, I would know exactly how I want to go about it. But yeah, these are these are sorry, please. Since when? Yeah, these are what they call it. A few of the things that I wanted to share with you guys when it comes to color grading in Capture One. Do I think that I've taught you people everything? No, I don't think so, because I don't know everything. I think that there are people who are much more conversant with color grade in Capture One, especially. I mean, the likes of Obisomto is great with Capture One. Segun Sani Kabir, who is one of our students, is great with Capture One. His work is very, very grungy, and I like his tones. So you could speak to people like that if you wanted to learn more. I've just showed you how I process my own raw files. I'm a minimalist when it comes to my approach to color.
Just a quick question, sir.
Yeah, quick question.
Photoshop.
Sir, please, for your wedding images, do you also process them with Capture One?
Yes, I process my wedding images with Capture One. It's not, it can be painstaking. It can take a lot of time, but Capture One is still my preferred choice for weddings.
All right, so you export from Capture One out?
Yes, I export from Capture One out as JPEG, and then I can take it to Photoshop if I want to do any skin work on it.
All right.